right. Hey, have you tightened up today? If not, it's okay. I want to welcome you to the Two-Tone Takeover. I am the Two-Tone Bandit, and this is a podcast for Tennessee Titans fans by a Tennessee Titans fan. And I want you to pull up and represent that two-tone blue the way that you want to. This is a community. This is a place for us where the fans can actually have a voice. On today's episode, we'll be evaluating our defensive free agents, how we feel about them, how they fit on the roster, and I got another surprise or two for you. So stay tuned, lock in, subscribe, tighten the hell up, and let's get straight to it. All right, jumping straight into it. Everybody's talking. Everybody's looking at the roster, the offense, the defense. Who we going to get in the draft? We don't know how to feel. We want this guy. We don't want that guy. Hey, look, at the end of the day, we still Two-Tone Nation under one flag and one banner, one emblem, all right? Or maybe two now that we done upgraded. But nonetheless, we still here for the long run. But look, we got some of these free agents, man. Look, I'm going to ask y'all a quick question. And then we're going to start jumping into some of these names and breaking it down person by person to see how we really feel and try to give a full evaluation so people can really see, how we feel. But when you look at the defense that we currently have right now, what current holes do you feel like need to be filled? And what holes do you think they will actually fill? Because like I said, and I say it again, when you look at any team headed into a season, I don't think you can ever find a team or even a fan base that'll look at the team and say, hey, we couldn't use an extra this or more. It's always going to be a position or a depth piece or something that, people always feel like you can add or get better at. And I mean, that's just the mentality of life. You can always get better. You never get complacent. So with that being said, two-part question, ask it one more time, just make sure you heard it. What pieces on the defense do you still think we need to address? And then what pieces do you think we will actually address? It could be either or, but, take it away, Ice. Get to it, and then we're gonna go to Bo and keep this thing rolling. But give us some feedback. How you feel about the defense?
Well, there's definitely some needs. I think that just taking it down the line here from safeties, I feel pretty good.
Okay.
We got Tony Adams as a backup, and I'm cool with him as a backup. I mean, we got a couple young guys, and probably draft somebody too. So I feel good about safeties, both of them. Cornerbacks, I love our two starters on the outsides, Alontae Taylor and Flott. I think that Marcus Harris at nickel is I don't know. I'm willing to give him a chance, but I think we need a depth piece there, like a 6-man kind of thing at the cornerback position. So I'm looking to maybe draft somebody in the third or fourth round, no later than that probably. And to give us some depth at the cornerback position. My real concern is at linebacker. I feel like we have Cedric Gray right now, and that's it. And I'm no disrespect to anybody else that's on the roster. I don't know if they're going to move Cody Barton or not. Until he's gone, he's here. You would think that he wouldn't really be a solid guy. So I'm looking for him to be moved at some point. Maybe they're just keeping him. I do like him. I just don't think he's a starter. You know what I mean? Like he's a good depth guy. He's a good rotational guy, but I think that linebacker is probably the biggest concern on the team for me. On defense anyway. And then edge rusher. I was just telling Titans Van today. We were talking, and edge rusher is becoming a less and less concern for me. And I know that some people think that's wild to hear that.
Not at all.
But the more I look at people on the defensive line that we've already got, the more comfortable that I feel, because you got Jermaine Johnson on one side, you got the middle is looking nice. We got JFM and Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
So and then there's a couple of good backups there too. Speaking about the backups, is if Femi can't handle it on the other side, or he needs somebody to come in, take turns, whatever. Solomon Thomas. I think that was a great move for as cheap as we got him for. I think he could be a real factor in a Robert Saleh defense. So I'm really happy with that. I still think we'll add some people in the draft. Now, whether that's number 4 overall or not, I don't know. But I think down in the draft somewhere, we will add another edge rusher, and I think we'll be okay there. If we don't, I'm just saying, if we don't take somebody at 4 we'll be
Yeah.
okay at edge. But we need to get a linebacker, so we'll
Yeah.
get into that later. But that's how I feel about the
Bobby.
defense.
All right, Bo, give it to
Yeah,
us, man.
I agree with safety because we also brought back Jarek Reed, who when he played, at times he filled a decent role for depth wise. I mean, they're not going to be starters, but that's good pieces to have, and they like to do three safety sets at times, so I'm fine with that. Corner depth is absolutely the issue. We need, I think, at least two corners, whether we draft one and go sign a veteran after the fact or not. Depth has to become a thing there because, as we all know, all it takes is one of those starters to get hurt, and all of a sudden we're looking a little scarce pretty quickly. I like Marcus Harris. He showed some dog in him, but I agree. I don't want to put all my chips in his basket quite yet because he started playing at the end of the year, and you need
Mhm.
more of a sample size see what he does in training camp, see what he does in preseason. He could take the job, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm gonna support that 100%. But you need to have another nickel corner that can, compete with him. But then again, they could throw Alontae Taylor in there at times because you don't solid loves to rotate guys in places, and so I don't know what they're going to do. But that's an interesting nugget. I think linebackers are our biggest issue now. I think Barton, as much as him not being a starter, I agree with. I think leadership wise, who do you have as a leader in the locker room if he's gone? It's a lot of young guys at that point. I still and moving him cap wise, we would get more of a dead cap hit than we would in a cap savings by moving him if we had to completely swallow that. And so part of me thinks we might carry him into camp, but we got to bring in at least one regardless. I think James Williams, he showed some promise. At one point, we thought he was going to win the linebacker job last year, and then Cedric Gray came on and took it by then a training camp. What can
Yeah.
James Williams do? Saleh is really good about developing linebackers, and so I'm interested to see what he can do with that size and speed. And I think he could make a jump too. It's just how much of a jump is he going to get? But I think we have to address that spot. I fully agree as far as the D line. That went from our biggest weakness to probably our most biggest strength that we have on the defense right now with all the pieces. I already see Jeff Simmons is going to line up 1 through 4 on the D line. They're not going to keep him on the interior every time. Same with Solomon Thomas. Same with JFM. They're going to Johnson. They're going to move him everywhere, and I'm excited for that because Salah. He said it multiple times. He does not want anybody to get multiple reps against the same dude. You're going to have 1 point. You're going to have Simmons over the center, and the next thing you know, he's going against the left tackle. And then you have JFM doing the opposite of that. You're going to have them rotate all over the place. And Johnson, people don't realize he's a big dude as a D end. He can come in on the inside at times, and I'm excited for that too. Um, and we brought other dudes we're not even talking about. I mean, I know they're depth pieces, but Jacob Martin, he's an end that came off, and he played pretty decently for Washington last year. I like him. And you got Malik Herring. I mean, I know he's a chief. He hasn't done a lot, but he's a big body depth that they can use in pieces too, kind of like what Aaron Lynch did for us last year. So the D ends and the D line, I'm not as stressed on. I still would like us to get one more in the draft, a young one, whether it's in the third, fourth, fifth round. I don't think we need to address it early. I'm on the train where edge is deep enough in the draft class. We can not worry about it round one, and you can get it in 3 and 4 and still be okay because there's enough quality edges. I'm more worried about playmakers that we'll get to on offense later on, but I think linebacker and edge has to be addressed in the draft, and they can find in the belly of the draft between rounds 4 through 6. But I don't think you want to worry about 6. I mean, it depends what we do. Maybe we make a trade back, but I agree with him on a lot of what he said. So.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Well, look, to add to what y'all saying, we're gonna actually jump into all of the signings that we actually did on free agency. Let's try to run through these. Not too much time on it, but we just pretty much do what we're doing. So I'm gonna just kick this thing off by one of the biggest ones of the of the off season, which is John Franklin Myers. And just to give you his 2025 stats and his career stats in 2025, Franklin Myers posted 7.5 sacks. He had 25 quarterback hits, 39 combined tackles. He had 6 tackles for a loss, and he started 15 out of 16 games. From his career through 2025. He has 34 sacks, 279 combined tackles, and a long track record of disruptive line play. I would grade this an A as a signing for our team. I think he can really have a high level impact. Just the thought in saying the sentence of JFM beside Big Jeff is a problem in itself. But yeah, how do you all feel about that? Like I said, we're gonna go through each player, and we will mention some of the players that you all mentioned, but we're gonna break it down and kind of look at where they were last year because I like to do that to see what are they coming off of, as well as let's look at how consistent they've been over their years. And so I'll read each stat down for each player, but I'm gonna toss it to you now, Ice, so you can go ahead and do your thing. Take us on the journey, bro. JFM, man. Feedback.
I want to go back to about a week before free agency happened.
Yeah.
We saw the tweet. I think I was already on board right there. I knew it was happening. I think everybody in the building knew it was happening. And
let's go.
And I just feel like he even wore 98 before he came here, and so I just feel like he's almost like a replica of Big Jeff, but nobody's Big Jeff. Let's not get twisted here now. They was talking about like nicknames for these guys, and I thought the Twin Towers would have been a pretty good name, because they like the same,
That'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work.
I'm pumped though. There's what can you really say? I can't wait to see. Can't wait to see these guys on the field, man.
Yeah, I'll give y'all a quick gem. I do have a He's not on this list because we already signed him. But Femi, I do got a nickname for him. I hope he panning out because the nickname will be solid. You know what I'm gonna call him? I call him Semi Femi. Yeah. Yeah, coming like a semi truck. Semi Femi. Semi Femi hits him again. Yeah, no, but that's just me. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, Bo. Take it. Tell us your feedback.
No, everybody was saying the worst kept secret was Wan'Dale Robinson coming to the Titans. I think JFM was just as much of a worst kept secret. You had Johnson tweeting about it. Everybody was connecting the dots. You had every media member, it felt like, was saying, it was in play. And so, it was almost expected, but as free agency went on, those first couple hours, it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then he finally hit. And so it's exciting. It's almost like, it kind of reminds me of, Thor and Hulk. They're two big, massive people. They're huge. They're strong. They just use their brute strength in the middle of the defense. And I think it's going to do wonders just because you saw how well he produced under Saleh already. And, you're bringing him to a team with Big Jeff. He's not played with a interior D lineman next to Big Jeff at all in his career. And it's going to make him even look better. It's going to make Big Jeff look better. It's going to make everybody around that defensive front four look better. I think it was an A+. I think it was the most important signing they did because it gives Robert Saleh what he wants, because he wants to rush 4 as much as possible and blitz as low as possible. And so I think those two guys alone with everything else brought around, I think it's going to do wonders.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. I can't wait. One thing about that's just as potent as a good offense and explosive plays is an aggressive defense. Prime example, if you just look at the 2 past Super Bowls, you look at the Seahawks and the Eagles, them defenses took over the game. The offenses just had not to lose the game. Mm-hmm. The Eagles shut down Patrick Mahomes and the Seahawks shut down Drake May. But you know how beautiful it is to be a fan on that side of it? It's amazing. Like, what was speaking of which, if y'all could, what is the best recent, in recent memory, whatever, defensive game that you was really hype about when we was like, oh man, we wrecked shop on that game?
For the Titans?
Yeah.
What's sad is we lost the game, but when we went nuts on the Bengals in the playoffs, our defense did everything under the sun. 7, 8 sacks.
Yeah, something like that. 8 or 9. Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
I got one after that. That was the first one that was the first one that came to my mind too. But if you remember that game, and we did end up losing, but it was still like, that's funny. We lost both of these examples. But,
our offense.
Do you remember when Malik Willis started against Kansas City?
Yep.
Yeah.
Our defense played lights out, man. We went to overtime, I think. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chig had that game where he broke like 8 tackles on a 60-yard tight end screen. I remember that. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss Chig, man. I am missing.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him, man. But here we are, off into the new, man. And to the next person, right there on the defensive tackle, Jordan Elliott. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Jordan Elliott coming over. He came from, what was it? He came from Kansas, right? Or Cleveland?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Yep, was San Francisco. I knew some red in there somewhere. But looking at his 2025 and career stats in 2025, Elliott recorded 31 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, played 16 games with 16 starts. All right. Yep, that was for San Francisco. And through his career, through 2025, he's had 141 combined tackles, 3.5 sacks. Okay, so not a lot of production, but like you said, he's a good rotation piece, good depth piece. And that's what you need. You need good depth. You don't need the depth that, I mean, you can always take advantage of the second and, third tier guys, but I think in the right system, it makes it that much harder because your starters won't be out that long, but you want to keep them fresh. You want to keep them going. You want to keep them solid through all 60. I give this like a B minus based on the value for the position. And looking at, I do think there is some production here. I mean, it might not be back-end production where he has a ton of sacks, but being disruptive and effective, I think is something that we can expect, especially gelling with the unit that he'll be playing with. Is that, like you said, a lot of these, when you look at the combination of guys that we have on this front line, a lot of these guys I don't think any of these guys have had this, for the most part. I mean, I don't think, like you said, JFM hasn't had anyone like Jeff. Jeff ain't had nobody like JFM, So, they, having an interior like that, we don't even understand what this can do for the edges. A lot of these guys who you would think would just play a traditional edge in the system, but this system is going to be built different and a lot more aggressive in the interior, freeing up the exterior, the edges, for these guys. They'll get a lot of one-on-ones. Let me just put it like that. Because you got to pick your poison between JFM and Jeff. Somebody got to get double. They better get double. Or, I mean, if what's good for you, if you care about your quarterback, you better double. But yeah, Ice, Jordan Elliott, man, give me some feedback. How you feel when we picked him up?
Well, he was a 3rd round pick, which I think that's something I always look at when we sign people. Where did they start? Were they highly touted prospects? So forth. He's going into his 7th year, and I feel like that was probably something that they looked at. They wanted somebody with experience, because we're probably going to be getting some young guys, and so you need somebody to show them the ropes, and there must have been something they liked about this guy. I haven't watched him close enough to really tell you exactly what that is, but just looking at his size, he's 6'4", 303. He's probably pretty mobile for his size, or he wouldn't be on the team. So, like you said, he's a depth piece, and he looks good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say with him, I think he's going to be your early down interior above the center D lineman to stop the run. That's what they're bringing him in for. That was his specialty with San Francisco. Saleh knows him because he's been with him.
Yeah.
I think essentially he's filling the T Sweat role, but obviously we're going to a 4-3 rather than a 3-4 traditional. But he's going to be the that D lineman to help attack the running game more than anything. They're not expecting really any pass game from him, sacks, numbers like that. They just want him to be able to stop that run in the interior. And I think with the size he is and with what he specializes with that, and then if you even have a rotational set where you have Big Jeff, JFM, and him, and say Solomon Thomas is up there or Johnson or whoever they have, that's a big group up front to block for those offensive linemen, those fours. So good luck. I think, they want to not let teams run the ball, and having him in the interior with all these other rotational guys we're mentioning is a big piece. Him being in the league 7 years, like he mentioned, he obviously has been successful at his role. He knows he's not a big sack artist and anything like that, but he's going to come in and give you your damnedest to not run on you in the middle. So I'm excited for that piece.
Absolutely. Yep, you got it.
I was just going to, because he brought up a couple of things that made me think of stuff.
Okay. Come on with
this, like you said, I said it originally, 7 years he added on, but this guy knows how to be a pro, and it seems like with the coaches we hired experience, and it seems like they're doing the same thing with the players. They're hiring experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. That's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he said that he might be an early down guy. We've got so many people who have legitimate experience, like could really play, and would give Saleh the maneuverability to we might see some Jeff Simmons on the edge, like playing like Myles Garrett this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like
Mhm.
to. I would like to
Wait.
see a few reps of that. I don't know about you. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I,
with
th- I,
it.
th- I think that would be. I paid for a ticket to go to a game just based on that news right there.
Yeah, I think I did that on Madden. I said I gotta put Jeff on the
Well,
edge.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, I was laughing when he mentioned that we're going to a 4-3 because if for years on Madden, every time I join a franchise, the first thing I have to do is go in and change Jeff's position over to defensive tackle because they got him as an end, and then they
Yeah,
had to change Harold Landry to a defensive end because I run a 4-3, and so
yeah,
I'm thrilled that we are finally running a 4-3. Like I hate the 3-4.
mm, yeah. I'm glad we yeah, this is gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a whole different beast. Whole different beast. All right, sliding back a little bit, going to the cornerback position, Mr. Cor'Dale Flott. Okay. Let's talk about Flott. Young guy. Just 24 years old. It's 2025 stats and career stats. In 2025, Flott had 68 combined tackles, 11 passes defending. He had one interception in 14 games. For his career through 2025, he's had 147 tackles, 20 passes defended, and 2 interceptions. For me, this is a B minus signing. I don't think that like I say he's still young. He has enough time to grow, but he seems to be a more playable body at corner, and that's what we need. If the staff can tighten up his consistency and leverage his length properly, he could outperform the headline value of the signing, if you ask me. But that's my feedback on Cor'Dale Flott. I think that's our second string. I would go Alontae, Cor'Dale, and then who was the other guy? Josh Williams, possibly rotating in and out. We'll see. I don't know because we're not fully, like I said, just judging it at the moment. Definitely going to be a whole new conversation post the draft. But how do you feel about Cor'Dale Flott as our cornerback coming in? I used to talk to.
I tell you, I think I feel a little bit better about him than you do. like, like I didn't know who was when they first signed him. I think a lot of people were in the same boat there,
Yeah,
and so I went and watched this tape highlights. I try to watch more than highlights because I want to see some of the bad stuff too. And
yeah,
there's definitely like room for improvement, but
mm-hmm.
but his highs were really high. And he's 6'2". You spoke on the length. You didn't say 6'2". I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. No, I didn't. That's good.
I like guys who were like more than 6'1". Like if you're more than 6'1", like it's looking sexy, like and especially if you got the mobility, which I think he does. I think he has all the physical pieces that you look for.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he looks. I mean, look what Snead did for us. I mean, like I think that he's going to be fine. I mean, especially being the CB2. I think he'll rotate with people, because that's natural to have people come in, Josh Williams, whatever. But I think that most of the time he's going to be our cornerback number 2, and I think under Saleh, like with our defensive line being as effective as I expect them to be, I think it's really going to help our cornerbacks because when you have to guard somebody for like more than 4 seconds. Like that's an impossible task. Like nobody can do that consistently. So, I mean, if we can keep it under 4 seconds, I think you give these guys a great chance to be successful.
yeah. You're right. You said something about Snead. Who got that new number 38? What's that? Tony
I don't know.
Adams? Somebody got the 38. I seen. I want to say it's Tony. Whoever got it. It's still, they don't even have to wash it. It's still got the crease lines on it because he never used that. I'm telling you, it don't got a grass stain or nothing on it. Still in the plastic, like, but no.
That was money.
But yeah, Bo, Cor'Dale Flott,
Yeah.
how you feeling?
No, I only saw him a couple games last year because when our boys kind of started struggling when they weren't on games, I'd put on NFL Sunday Ticket and I would put on different games and I'd see Flott making some plays and I didn't even know who he was at the time, but I remember him popping up a couple times watching some of the games. So I was like, the name sounded familiar, and he obviously developed. He didn't come out right away and just start a lot of games. He really started getting his chance last year. But the thing I love about him is he's got some length to him. He's not big, so he might get pushed around a little bit if the linemen get to him. But his job is to just cover the best he can. And if he's on the field during those rundowns, just fight through the best you can. But I think he's still young for one, and
Yeah.
I think too, there's enough talent in the coaching staff that I think can still get more out of him. Obviously, Dable felt good enough about him because he talked for him and he's the offensive coordinator, and he talked enough about his development and growth. And you bring his speed and his length. All you need him to do is for 3.5 seconds to use that speed in your length and hope that your front four get to him. If it's those other moments, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Jalen Ramsey. I don't care if you're Pat Surtain. 4 seconds is an eternity, and then it turns into 5 seconds. And these receivers are smart. They know to find the spots in the zone coverages. If it's man at 5 seconds, the quarterback most of the time is scrambling, and at that point, it's backyard football. So, I think Flott. I'm excited for him. I mean, you paid him that money. You didn't pay for him to sit on the bench. He's going to play a good amount, and I think that he's going to do really, solid within the scheme because you saw how good the corners played in the scheme for Saleh when they're playing their fourth, fifth, sixth strings in San Francisco with all those injuries they had. Those corners still played their roles well, and I think Flott can do the same.
Yeah, he third round pick, man, 2022. So they just didn't re-sign him after his rookie deal, pretty much. In a nutshell,
Giants tried to. He said it was almost similar money, but he chose Nashville because it was close to home. That's where where he's used to. So when you hear the Giants are trying to pay him that same amount of money, then they're trying to keep him for a reason.
They did. You're right about that. Yep. As soon as you said it, it triggered it. Yep. And speaking of that, the next guy came out in the same draft class, but he was the second round pick, number 49 overall in 2022, and that is cornerback Alontae Taylor. All right. So looking at Alontae, which is I would go ahead and say he's a CB1. But his 2025 stats and career stats overall in 2025, he totaled 83 tackles, 7 passes defended, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks in 17 games. And through his career, he's had 271 tackles, 28 passes defended, 4 interceptions, and 6 sacks. I give this an A- signing. I think the impact level could be high here. He's an aggressive, feisty guy who really, I think, can play over the field, all over the field more than people think. And that's something that's going to be valuable for us. Having a versatile back that can cover multiple positions. So, I think that he's going to be able to come in and being the dog that he is, he'll be able to be more of a, what would you say? He'll be able to be more of a leader because we need leaders. If you look at it, he's the CB1. Who else is running that position, that room right now? So, if we got somebody that's a dog. And that's one thing I look at. When I look at a lot of these position groups, I see a lot of dogs just being brought in. And it's good to have dogs just leading the show because I don't think that they're going to settle for any type of mediocrity, especially when you understand. I mean, I don't think the coach will anyway, but sometimes it becomes a player session when me and you are talking, and I need to encourage you to make sure we're on the same energy so we can be consistent on the field on Sundays. But going to our CB1, Ice, take it away. Alontae Taylor, how you feel? What's your feedback? How you see him impacting this off defense? I'm sorry. Well, their offense, but our defense.
First of all, you are a very harsh critic to give him an A-. Like you are, man. No, I think this was the best signing that we made. I love JFM, but as far as like the best signing that we made, this is my number one because Alontae Taylor, he really should change his name. It should be Speed and Violence. That should be his name. Because I don't know if you guys watched his tape or not, his film, or knew him. Like I kind of knew who he was already, but this dude is what L'Jarius Sneed was supposed to be. We watched those videos against Tyreek Hill where he must have got lucky because that shit was a fluke. And so, this is who he was supposed to be, is Alontae Taylor. And when you on top of that, this is home for him. So he's happy as hell to be here, and we're happy as hell to have him.
Yep.
And there's nobody in the NFL who deserved to be a number one cornerback. To get his chance, was he 2? I thought he was 2 down there, right? Was he number 1 for New Orleans?
No, I think he was 2. I don't think he was.
He was more. I mean, he made the most plays as a corner, but they didn't view him as number 1. They played him in the slot more than anywhere, so I don't think he was viewed as a true one there.
Okay, I was just thinking, like, was he a number 1? And so I thought this was his first opportunity, and he deserves it. Like he's got all the tools. He's got the mindset, the mentality. This dude is ready, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Let's go, man.
Yeah. No, this is my second favorite signing, and they're almost like a 1A, 1B between the JFM and this one. I mean,
Yeah.
you knew secondary was almost as much of a need as edge rusher going into the offseason. And they double dipped within 10 minutes. And I'll never forget sitting on my phone because we're talking about both Flott and then now, Taylor. I remember I see the move for Flott and I'm like, okay, like, I'm happy for him. And then 10 minutes later, all of a sudden, then we get the Taylor signing. I'm like, what is going on? I felt like we were had Christmas morning. It was great. And uh, my thing is the speed and violence is huge, and that's exactly what Saleh wants. He talked about in his press conference. He wants his corners, especially the nickel. He wants them being nasty and violent. And even though Taylor probably won't be in the slot much, he may at times, depending on matchups. Like say you're facing the Lions with St. Brown, where he is in the slot a lot, but. Taylor's going to teach all these dudes how you want to play that nickel position, how you want to play the outside, and I think that's huge on that part. Saleh wants as many violent and nasty guys as possible. I think Taylor's the hardest hitting player in the secondary, even including the safeties. Tell me another safety that hits as hard as Taylor on our team right now. Amani Hooker doesn't hit as hard as he could. And I mean, I do like Winston, but I need to see him more of that. Winston's right there. I think it's Taylor and Winston are my top two. And you need as many as hard hitting players as possible. I love everything Taylor's about. I know he said he didn't grow up a Titans fan, but he's going to make all the Taylors in his family be Titans fans from this point forward. So that's all I care about. He's going to set a tone in that secondary. You have enough dogs on defense. We need more dogs on offense to back up Cam because Cam's the only talker. But defensive wise, you have a talker in every part of the team outside of linebacker right now. You have secondary Taylor. He's a talker. JFM talks a little bit, but we already know Jeff Simmons historically and how he talks. You got dogs all over the field on defense. That's what Saleh loves, and I'm very excited about what Taylor can bring.
Amazing, man. Yep, I'm loving it. Well, look, let's go ahead and round out that CB position, man. Moving to what I think would be more so maybe our CB3 rotational, Mr. Joshua Williams, 26 years old. Another player out the 2022 draft, fourth round pick, 135 overall, coming from the Chiefs. His 2025 is career stats for Mr. Williams. In 2025, he recorded 6 tackles in 15 games for Kansas City. For his career through 2025, he had 97 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 12 passes defended. Didn't have a lot of production last year. I will give this one a C plus signing. And a lot of these, these grades is just where I'm at with these guys now. I do think that they can develop better, but that's what they're going to have to do. I can't give it to them. I think there's room for improvement, and I think that they will grow. This is like a developmental depth player, if you ask me. He has size, and he does have some pass ball production, but the question is whether we can really turn him into a more stable week-to-week contributor. And that's something that, I think he can, but like everything else, it's something that I want to see. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that even Tony Adams, all of these guys are coming out of the 2022 draft. These are 2022 draft picks coming out of the same draft class together, all being able to come on one team and gel as a secondary unit in their primary positions. But Joshua Williams, cornerback, depth piece out of Kansas City. Ice, how we feeling? What you think his impact can be? Talk to us.
I thought it was a good signing. It's a B, not a B plus, not a B minus, just a B. I think he can be a useful piece. He's not just a deep bench player. I think he will have a role on the team. Borgonzi was in Kansas City when he was there. Like you said, he has length. He's 6'3", so that's another guy that's like 6'2" plus. So they're looking for these cornerbacks that are long. Like obviously that matters to Saleh because I'm sure he had a big part in that. But I tell you something that we haven't really discussed that we're at the end of this defensive conversation right now is that he came from Kansas City. Saleh didn't coach there. We've got a couple guys from the Giants defense. Saleh didn't coach the Giants defense. So it shows me that there's a lot of collaboration going on behind closed doors between Borgonzi, Saleh, and Dable. And they are all supporting each other with this information, I guess, because in order for Saleh to get on board with somebody like this, I mean, you know what I mean? He would have to have somebody he trusts, to tell him, which I'm sure he already knew who Joshua Williams was. But Borgonzi's probably got a part in that too. I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
To telling him like what kind of a personality the kid has, because we're looking for leaders in the locker room, people who know what it's like to be a pro. Like I said a few minutes ago, I think that's important. So I do think he'll have an impact. He obviously didn't have a whole lot of stats for Kansas City, but maybe he's due for an upgrade in responsibility.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think so. Let me jump on that right quick when you get to it. But no, what you was just saying, I just thought about it. Yeah, I really do think it's a lot of collaboration because when you think about it, outside of maybe a signing here or there, Borgon, we did get a few people from Kansas City. We did get a few people from the Giants, and we do have people who have been connected. All of them may have not come from San Fran, but we do have a lot of people who have a connected past to Solid. So like they all just being able to bring in their guys and kind of evaluate there and say, okay, well this guy would be better. Well, I can bring, and that's but that's good to see. That's what you want. You want to be able to see the collaboration coming out. Like these guys are talking, getting along, and being able to be on the same page where everyone can eat and have some input to bring together a system that's not just one guy running the show. So I do think that's a good point that you made on that. I just wanted to touch on that. Bo, take it away.
Yeah.
You got it.
No, it's a good point to touch on. I mean, what's funny is I remember the media hated the word collaboration because that's all the front office and the ownership's been talked about since 21. But the right way to collaborate is the best way to do it. You want your GM to say, hey, before I came here, this guy, I know he had this and this quality and so on and so forth. And the coaches do the same thing. So I have no hate with it. I give the signing a B minus. I mean, he obviously has to have production, but he was huge in special teams for the Chiefs the last couple of years. And so if the worst thing he does is be a quality special teams player and a depth signing, I'm not going to be mad at that because you need good gunners, you need good, special teams role players. But I think he's going to bring more value to that, just because the Chiefs, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter if they got a guy off the street or it's a 6th-round pick, they find corners there. I mean, you look at the history. I mean, Snead was great, and then he left, and he was nothing. You look at who they just traded with, McDuffie. I mean, he was great, and let's see if he performs well. But they always find secondary players. And so they obviously saw something in him, but I think he just didn't get as many opportunities because there's so many dudes in front of him in the secondary. And so I think this is finally his time to get an opportunity. And I think that was one of the reasons he probably came back, or came with, I should say, with Borgonzio to the Titans. I'm excited to see what he does. He's big and long. That's his biggest things. And I think that he can, bring quality there. If you look at Saleh, he loves Sauce Gardner, and Sauce is known for being long and quick. And, that was one of his first-round picks when he went to the Jets. That's his type of corner. And you can see it with, Flott. He's 6'2", but he's long. You look, I mean, it goes down the line. That's the Saleh corner. That's what he likes. He likes long, rangy corners that can defend those contested catches and be long in those scenarios. So it fits the mold. And, like I said, he had corners for the Niners that came off the street and performed well for them last year. So I think he could get something out of him, but how much, I don't know. But, I mean, I think it was a worthy signing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's gonna be very good to see all these guys coming together. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely. I think be a lot better than what people think because they know more than we know. We just got to trust their instinct for one, but also their ability to coach what they're looking for out of these players. Before I move on to the next guy, I do want to make a correction. I said that Tony Adams came out of the 2022 draft with the other guys, but he did come in that year, but he was an undrafted player. So I need to correct myself on that.
That is right. I remember reading about that. That is right.
Yeah, he did come in the 2022 year, but he didn't come through the draft. He was undrafted.
Where did he go? Where did he go to school at?
He went to school in Illinois.
Oh, okay. Big Ten.
Yep. He's 26, came out of Illinois as an undrafted signing. But another thing that I want to also point out about a lot of these players, outside of, like you said, size, or you're looking at speed or violence, a lot of these guys are durable, just like last year's signing. Looking at the guys who, don't have a good, big history of injuries. And so that's another thing to keep an eye on because, like last year, I think the theme is staying consistent. And that's what you want. You want your guys to be able to absorb and be able to play longer down the road. I think we had a good role last year. We'll have a good run this year. And if they keep in this direction, I think they'll be good, especially when they did, because I think they changed. I even think they changed. Who's the guy in charge of that personnel? Not the quality guy, but the medical staff. I think they put together a good staff. I can't think of it, but they've addressed everything they need to make sure that they can monitor, evaluate, and not have any and that's what you do. You don't see us trying to bring in a lot of rehab projects or guys that are broken up and we're like, oh, we can get them better. The best one I think we've done is Big Jeff, the way he came out of college and he's been durable the whole time, and hopefully we can keep that same train rolling. But yeah, Mr. Tony Adams, okay. Looking at his 2025 stats and career stats in 2025, he had 49 tackles, 3 passes defended, 1 sack in 12 games. Through his career, he's had 192 tackles, 5 interceptions, 15 passes defended, 4 sacks. I will give this signing a B to B plus, just because, like I said, I need to see how everyone, just like you said, he's not, you don't expect him to come in and be the show, but I think there'll be a great piece for Winston. Also, the veteran. I have a lot of veterans that are young enough to be able to perform and gel with a lot of these rookie signings, and I think that that's very great that we're not bringing in too much of a veteran where we're shooting for like 29, 30, 31-year-olds. The average signing seems to be between 24 to 26 years old, which is great for us, because if you can get these guys in and they can perform, you essentially have a team that can, you would think that can give you the production moving forward, where you can actually see these guys gelling together for the long haul. So being able to put together a team that can maybe, have that continuity for the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, especially, looking at the fact that we're getting ready to bring in a whole draft class of rookies, that's going to be on at least a 4-year deal at minimum. So yeah, I think it's a good nucleus that they're building for guys that can play, that are dogs, have durability, and can actually gel at a good age. But Tony Adams, Ice, how you feeling about him, man? Back there with Winston, I seen you had a little gesture there, man. Talk to it.
Yeah, I don't know what that was for, but well, a minute ago you said something about no injuries. I need you to knock on some wood right now, like it's got to be within a few minutes. You have to knock on wood, or you curse us all, bro. Like, no, I'm just kidding. But if somebody gets hurt, I'm blaming it on you.
That's fine. I'll take it.
No, with Tony Adams though, he's 5'11", so I think that the mold for safety must be a little different. But he's a little bit thick too. He's over 200 pounds, so he might be one of those guys who can come down in the box and be like a hybrid kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to put pressure, line guys up on the LOS. So maybe he's one of those guys, some kind of like utility knife, Swiss Army knife kind of guys, who can do a couple of different things. I don't know. I'm guilty. I have not watched any tape on Tony Adams, so I will do that though. Now that we're talking about it, I feel like I need to do it. So yeah. I'm gonna do that later. But I like it. I mean, like, there's nothing I can say to go against it. I don't know if it was like, I don't know if I can even put a grade on it, to be honest. That would just be like, I don't really know, but it seems like a good depth piece. He brought him in for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see what that was.
Yeah. I'll say this really quick because you brought up the durability. So I'm just covering on the J-Rob days anymore, where we were bringing in all these injured draft picks every year and all these players. I mean, thank goodness. But but nonetheless, I give Tony Adams signing a B. He started for 3 of his 4 years there. Saleh was there when they brought him in initially, so Saleh knows him from his young days. He's got enough starts where you can view him as a veteran presence for any of these younger secondary guys. He knows the system enough because he, again, was with Saleh, so he knows the expectations a little bit. Granted, he was with Aaron Glenn last year, but he had 2 years with Saleh before he was gone. So he knows what the expectations are. It's a great depth piece for a player that started for 3 years, and he's going to be your backup safety or your third safety that comes in on certain packages. You can't be mad at that. It's not a rookie for one, and he's still young enough where he could still develop and get better too. So I have no issues with the signings. He kind of is a jack of all trades at times. He'd be lined up as a third safety or third linebacker, so to say, because he is big enough and thick enough for it. But he would be in the secondary a lot too and roam around, especially on cover 3 sets. So I give it a B. I mean, you're not going to get a depth signing to be an A+ or anything like that, but for what his role will be, I think he's a B.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, moving back up a little bit, back on edge. We can look at this depth piece. Jacob Martin is a little bit older. He is 30 years old. Came out of Temple. He was drafted in 2018 by the Seahawks, a 6th-round pick, 186 overall. Looking at his stats last year in 2025, Martin finished with 5.5 sacks, 39 tackles, 18 quarterback hits, and 3 tackles for a loss in 17 games. Through his career, from 18 to 25, he's had 31 sacks, 155 combined tackles. So he's seen. I'm not mad. I think this is a better depth signing than people understand, rotational piece. Because I mean, for a guy, that, how can I say? Let's see. He wasn't one of the big names on the team last year, but I mean, he still had production. He's had 5.5 sacks last year. I mean, that was right up there with Joey Bosa, and people want Bosa. I think Bosa had about 5 sacks last year. So, hey, maybe they found it, but Bosa's the word that Ice doesn't want me to say. He's that prone. You know that word that yeah, I'm not gonna say it because you get to knocking on shit when I say it. But Bosa's prone, medically prone. But yeah, then that's and so that's why I look at other guys like Cam Jordan. I'm just gonna keep saying that unless I miss some. But either way, I think that it's good when you can bring in those guys with the group we have, because they won't have to put that much on themselves to produce. They can stay fresh. They don't have to get gas. They don't have to be in there every down. There'll be situational packages where these guys can flourish. But I would give this a B, because like I said, I think it can be impactful. It's great depth. You got a depth with production. It's not a lot of guys that you bring in that, maybe coming off 5 or 6 sacks, or even have the 31 sacks in, what's that, 18, what's that, about 7 years? Which isn't very high on average, but it is consistent throughout the career as far as depth production. But looking at Jacob Martin, edge, Ice, how you feeling about him backing up some of the other guys, or being a part of this rotation with the other group that we have?
Well, I think that again, we brought in experience. He's 30 years old, and I think that I think that this, given that he's a little bit older, I think that this screams that we wanted somebody who might be important, because we don't need somebody who to give a chance to. We need somebody who has shown that they can do the job. And you brought up sacks, but he's a really good tackler too. I think that he is a guy who, like, I was talking, like I was telling you, I was talking with Titans Van. We've been talking a lot, and I think that Bergonzi is trying to put pieces on the roster, pretending like the draft isn't going to happen. Like there is no draft. Like, if you had to go into the season tomorrow, we need some guys who can play. And so I think that's what Jacob Martin is. I think that it's him and a couple other guys are give him the ability to not have to take an edge at 4 overall. We can take one in the 3rd round, add him with Jacob Martin and these other guys, and we can make do. So I think that's what Jacob Martin is. He is not exactly what Josh Williams is. He is not somebody who we feel like has earned the opportunity to go to the next step or next level, whatever you want to say. But he has already done it. He has performed, in my opinion, pretty well. I'm not saying he's a star in the league or anything. Like, don't twist that out of what I'm trying to say. But I think that I think he did enough that he is he's considered to be a value.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say he's valuable because he's been on a handful of teams: Texans, Jets, Broncos, Colts, Bears, Washington. All those teams find him valuable for his skill set. He's not going to be a starter. He's going to be a rotational piece. I give it another B on this one. I mean, he's the best thing about him is he has athleticism enough where he can do some bend to himself, but he's got more power than he does bend. And you're bringing in him or these guys that we've been talking about between Jeff and JFM and Solomon Thomas and all these guys, the edge rusher's job isn't necessarily going to be hey, you need to go get the quarterback because the boys in the middle are going to handle all that. He's just going to be there to help pressure, force them up to those D linemen. He might get some sacks himself, but all these guys working together, it's going to be, I mean, music. When he's in on those plays, he's not going to be playing, 80% of the snaps. I think he's going to play 10 to 20 snaps a game, depending on what the rotations are out of injuries, stuff like that. He's going to play to a point. He's going to teach, any of the younger guys. I mean, even younger guys on the team, Jalen Harrell, young guy. He's been there for a couple of years now, and he starts showing some promise at the end. So I'm excited to see. I mean, any of these guys are like we've been bringing up durability. They have some production. They know their roles and they know what they need to do. And so you're bringing in more of these guys. You're raising the floor more than the ceiling with the defense. You're just trying to make it to where you're not as bad of a defense on injury type games or seasons, and you want a baseline for the defense. We aren't going into next year expecting to be the Seahawks or the Texans because they're the top two defenses with the Broncos. But we are raising the floor to say at minimum we should be at least a top half of the league defense when we're healthy with the moves we're making, raising the floor the way we are. He just adds to the piece to make the floor just be just that 1% higher for what his production is. And I think he's going to be just fine with everybody else we have up front. He's not coming in to be like Von Miller when he got cut from the Broncos and everybody's like, he's going to Buffalo and he's going to go crazy. That's not what this is going to be at all. He knows his role. He's going to probably get, I'll say, 3-4 sacks, but he's going to get as many pressures and hurries as any of the other DNs just for what his role is and everybody else around him. So I think it's a solid signing.
We need to ban the word bend around here for a little while.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have been watching these pro day videos, but bend is officially banned for like 3 days at least.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I'm on the Arvell Reese train, and I don't want to hear the word bend anymore. Okay.
I can just say really quick, all those drills are a bunch of hoopla, and I'm gonna keep it PG. They're a bunch of hoopla, so I'm gonna stay quiet on that. But yes.
Yeah. Oh, he took me back with the hoopla, man. That was crazy. That was a crazy episode, man. Hoopla. I ain't gonna never forget that, man. Thinking back childhood memories with the hoopla. You know, one thing I'll bring. I'm this little us, but another thing from childhood. I don't know. I might be telling my age. I remember the original Mortal Kombat when you used to uppercut and the guy used to come in like whoopsie. We need to do that like on Madden hits, like or some hits like in the game, like a guy get hit, like whoopsie.
You said whoopsie, like the Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat.
No, I love those
I don't
days.
remember that.
Love those days.
A guy with a purple shirt used to come outside of the screen, used to hit that.
And he would spin when he would do the uppercut. He'd hit whoopsies and do a 360 spin and then land. I remember that fully. Yeah.
I don't remember the whoopsie. I don't remember the whoopsie.
I'm gonna find the video. I'm gonna show it back. I got you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show me that. I don't remember.
I got you. Don't worry about it. But look, jumping back into these last two pieces. The last two, I think it's two. Yeah, two right here. Yep. All right. So another defensive end, Malik Herring. He is a 28-year-old defensive lineman from Georgia who entered the league as an undrafted free agent in 2021. Last year he was with the Chiefs, and last year he appeared in more of a reserve role and didn't post a sack. And he had he only had like limited tackle production. For his career through 2025 from 2021, he's only had 28 tackles and 1.5 sacks. For me, this is I would grade this a C. I don't think he's going to have a huge impact. Right now, I would grade it at a low impact. Could be a potential to rise up to medium. To me, this is a depth move more than anything else. I mean, he could compete for a rotational roster spot and may have some special teams or front depth value, but expecting major defensive impact from him right now, I think would be asking too much. But what's your feedback on, Malik Herring, defensive end coming from Kansas City?
Well, I don't know much about him, to be honest. I know he came from Georgia. 6'3", 275. I'd like to know. I mean, I wish we could just get Robert Saleh and these guys into a bar. Get a few drinks in and like learn why they're doing all the things they're doing. That would be great. But that's probably not going to happen. So I don't know why he brought him on. It seems like, and he may impress me later on, but right now it just seems like a guy who might be a cut candidate. If I'm being quite honest, by the time we're done with the draft and we make all the moves we're going to make, we might realize that he's not. There's no place for him here. I don't know. Like he just seems like a bottom of the roster kind of guy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I don't know him, but he hasn't done really anything, and you have to wonder like why is he here?
Yeah.
I'll say, I mean, I was already going to say that he's going to be one of those roster cut candidates at the end of camp. Now, does he make it or not? That's going to be up to him and how he does in camp. But he's going to be mentioned as a potential cut candidate when you get to it because all the other guys we've talked about on the D line, he's not going to be above any of them. And how many D line can you keep?
Right.
I do think that if he does get cut, he'll be a practice squad guy on the team, just strictly because of his size and familiarity with Borgonzi. Borgonzi obviously brought him on because he knows him from when they drafted him, and I get 100% about that. I don't know if he's bringing him on to bring the work ethic that the Chiefs have had for those years with Andy Reid. I don't know if he's bringing him on for whatever those reasons are. I trust Borgonzi, but it's to me the minute he signed, it just screamed camp body, and that's not to disrespect him at all, but stats alone and how long he's been in the league now, and he only played 2 games last year. It screams camp body or competition in camp. And if he makes it, that's fantastic. And I'm excited to see what he can do. But I think he'll be cut and on the practice squad or right on the fringe too. So I don't know too much about him outside of what we've already talked about and just what his
Yeah.
stats say. But even the last couple of years, the Chiefs, I mean, you got 2 guys with Carl Loftus and Chris Jones. But then after that, they've had a lot of rotation guys, and he clearly didn't make that rotation too much. So I think he could have had opportunities there, and he didn't really take it to the full effect where he could have when they had rotation spots for him. So maybe he gets chances here and shows something we don't know about, but I don't think he'll bring too much to the team.
Yeah, I think we'll get more of that out of the next guy. Rounding off the end of this list right here. Linebacker Mohamed Diabate. Okay, 24-year-old linebacker from Florida and Utah. He entered the league as an undrafted free agent in 2023, and last year he was with the Browns. And in 2025, he recorded 49 tackles, 3 passes defended, and 1 fumble recovery in 17 games. Throughout his career, he's had 127 tackles, 8 passes defended, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 interception. I give this a B- to a B signing right now. I think this can be a medium to potentially high level impact because I think that there's some sneaky upside here. Diabate still feels like a player whose best football could be ahead of him, especially if Tennessee finds the right defensive and special teams role for him. This is the type of move that can quickly become valuable over the course of a season, and I do hope it plays out that way. But how do you feel about Diabate? Some people call him diabetes, but we don't know if he's sweet enough, so we'll have to see. But no, Diabate, Ice, how do you feel about it? Talk to us. What impact you see him having on the team?
Well, first of all, I like his size. I like 6'4". He's 225, but it's a little small. It's like a safety. It's almost like what's the Isaiah Simmons kind of territory. Which
Okay.
if you're as athletic as Isaiah Simmons, you're doing pretty good. So um, I don't know. I we'll have to wait and see. Like I think that he has a lot of potential, like you said. Like this could be a sneaky good pickup for us. My friend he is a Cleveland Brown fan, and I do have a friend that's a Cleveland Brown fan. So crucify me if you will, but I have to talk to somebody. So he's been a little friend, and he said he's a good player. Like he didn't like go over the moon about him, but he didn't say that he was garbage or anything like that. So
Okay.
I think that's good. I think he's a fill in piece. I think he will have a role though.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be cut or anything like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Saleh, man, his defense that he puts together with these no name guys in San Francisco, diabetes might have a big role here, man.
Might be the sweetest player we saw. But yeah, Bo, how you feel about Mr. Diabate?
Yeah, if you can find a role on a Jim Schwartz defense, you can find a role on a Robert Saleh defense. Jim Schwartz is one of the best defense coordinators we know out there, and he clearly trusted him for the time he was there. I feel like they saw it. Saleh loves tall linebackers. You've seen how much he loved Fred Warner, and he's 6'3". He raved about Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know how much we tried getting him or not in this free agency, but a couple years ago we talked about how much he loves him and how big he is. He loves those tall linebackers. So him being 6'4", I'm sure was eye opening for him. He likes those length in the middle of the defense there when quarterbacks trying to throw over them and things of that nature. So I know that stood out to him. But I mean, he's got some sacks in his game. He's got 10.5 sacks in his, for when he was in college. He knows how to blitz if they ever have to. He's going to find a role on the team regardless, whatever that is, whether it's a depth piece, whether maybe they do envision him being next to Cedric at times, and maybe it's not Barton at all. I mean, we don't know. He could come in and surprise us with, what he can do for us, but he's going to be on the team. His size alone and his experience with under Jim Schwartz and that defense and everything else, I'm excited for it. I thought it was a sneaky underrated signing because I remember seeing a couple Browns games last year because they're the only ones on for whatever reason. They kept putting him in primetime games, and he stuck out a couple of times. So I'm excited to see what he could do again, Saleh's. I mean, they know him as like the linebacker whisperer. Every linebacker's ever played for him produces. And I brought it up earlier when we talked about Barton. I think he can do something for us. He's, I think, going to be the tallest linebacker in the linebacker room now, outside of James Williams. I think Williams is about the same size. I think James Williams is about 6'4". I know Barton is not, and I know Cedric isn't. So it'll be interesting to see what packages they bring, but I think it was a good signing overall. I give it about a B-.
Okay.
I just want to throw it in there that Sonny Styles is 6'5", so
yeah, he loves those tall linebackers. And Sonny, there's no linebacker that's going to come close to Fred Warner outside of Sonny Styles, and so it's made me wonder what we do there. And I know we're not talking about the draft, but
are we?
but that's a absolutely name. I can list 5 guys that can go that spot. I wouldn't be mad. So.
Right.
Okay. Cool. I don't know what's going on here, y'all. I don't know. Maybe it's the rain. It's raining up here. I missed one player. You actually got one more player, and that is safety Jarek Reed II. Okay, he is 25-year-old safety out of New Mexico. It was drafted by Seattle Seahawks in 2023. He was round 6, 198 overall. I think we got him at last year though, right? He played a little bit, and then we just re-signed him back because
the Seahawks waived him, and then we got him off of waivers because obviously we're at the beginning of that list, and then we kept him on through the rest of the year. And
I wonder how that feel when you're on the team and then they let you, and then they go in the suit. I don't know.
He might have still got a ring if he was there. I don't remember when he got cut, but if he was there for at least half the season, he still gets a ring, even though he didn't play in it.
He played 5 games last year for Seattle.
Yeah, so I think he might have just missed the cutoff. That's a shame.
Oh man, they knew what they was doing. But yeah, in 2025, say he well for us, well, I don't know, this doesn't even say for us, but he said he appeared in 3 games and recorded 6 tackles. For his career through 2025, he's had 21 tackles. C+, low impact. I think this is a continuity move. I mean, Reed gives Tennessee, more safety depth and special teams competition, if anything else. But until he proves that he can really stay available and carve out a larger role, the expected impact for him should stay pretty modest. I wouldn't go all hoop and holler. There wouldn't be any hoopla for this one, But but yeah, Ice. How do you feel? I think we were touching on him a little bit earlier, but what's your feedback on bringing back Jared, and what role do you see him playing on this secondary or team, special teams, or what have you?
Yeah, I think you have a limited amount of time to make your mark and carve out a role, and he hasn't had a long time, but I feel like his road might be coming to an end, man. We've done some mock drafts, okay? We have, and it seems like even without trading back, we end up with several picks, and at the end of the draft, we were looking at a kicker the other day. We're probably not going to take a kicker. We'll probably take another safety or something. We don't know what we're going to take, but what I'm trying to say is by the end of this whole thing, he might be bumped off. He might be like one of these other guys I was talking about earlier who's just not going to make it. He'll be a practice squad guy because he's been here for a year now. He might be like what he was talking about. When he who was the player? I can't remember who it was, but he said it'd be a practice squad guy, and it might be what he's going to end up being. Like I would project him to go down that route, but who knows? He's 5'9". When it gets to the preseason, maybe he goes out. Maybe he why he deserves to be here. I don't know. So, but it just seems like to me that this is another cut candidate.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think they just bring it back, like you said. I mean, because what's the like you said, we're not there yet. They still got to cut down. Why not have guys that's kind of familiar with what you got going on? You got to look at them last year, so maybe you're just going to extend that evaluation process, and at least in fairness, just give them a chance to compete. Could just cut you and say, just give them a chance. And that's kind of, what I keep saying about Femi. I'm like, I'm willing to just give everybody on this team one more year, whoever you are. If you still here on the roster come September, I just want to see how you play throughout this season. And that's everybody, but I'm very excited for Mr. Semi Femi to have a healthy year in the Robert Saleh defense. I think honestly, I'll go on the record right now and think he's going to be the biggest surprise on this whole roster out of anybody. And I don't even care who we pick up in the draft. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we agree with too much of Borgonzi. I'm already bought into Borgonzi, and because of that, I'm just going to speak highly. If I'm speaking too early, then let him come back and bite me. But he's doing a great job on all. I evaluate people's intellect and their mentality. Like, it's not even. I look at the results, and I can see how he philosophizes certain things on how he moves, and it's hard for me to like everyone else in the draft, but because Femi got hurt in week 6, he's automatically a bust. Doesn't even make sense when you say it. How can you go around all the other players and be okay with Kevin Winston? Why are you okay with Marcus Harris? How are you okay with Gunnar Ham? Why are we vouching for Jackson Slater? We okay with Cam? A lot of people, look, we can say all of this, but you telling me that you don't, if that's the case, then there's no reason to get excited for the draft now. If you can't trust his selection in the draft class, and given the fact that this has been one of the most productive draft classes we've had in total, we might have had a person or two be a hit. That's why we don't have anyone left. Even if you didn't draft the guy, if he's a very productive player, you're more than likely will keep him or you're going to get value from him. A lot of these guys were gone below late to end draft value because the production wasn't there. So if we're bringing in talent to shape a team, if my job is on the line and I'm bringing in guys like, like Gus Bradley and Robert Saleh, and I come from a caliber of defense that, like you said, played pretty well, it's just hard for me to see a guy, if I got to judge a guy's actions and see everything about this, but then you don't trust this. And I don't even think, if he had a full season and everyone was saying the same thing and it was underwhelming, then I'd probably be like, yeah, but he only played 1/3 of the season. I don't think it's fair judgment. I mean, that's like you coming in for a job under a 90-day evaluation period, and after 30 days, they saying, won't think you're good enough for this job. Well, what about, I got 2 more months. Let me get to the end of my evaluation for you. Write me up first. At least let me get to the probation period. I'm following the rules. So me, it's just, I'm on the fence where I'm like, I can't say he's good, so I can't say he's bad. I just got to at least give it, 1 more year, just like anyone else, just like the same reason they bring it back Jared Reed or whoever. Maybe they want to say, we'll give you a chance to compete and see what you got. I'm willing to see what he has. And given the fact that we're moving to a whole new system with a guy that knows how to develop defensive pieces, I don't think it was a guy last year that we would have trusted enough to say, yeah, that guy's going to get the best out of Femi. But I think we can confidently say that about Saleh. I think we feel better about him trying to develop him than whoever we had last year. So given all these intangibles, I'm just willing to just hush it, hold my horses, wait until the end of, or at least, I would say at least to maybe mid-season, maybe the end of October. I don't think we need to get to the end, but if I'm not seeing production in at least 2 months, then it's probably what it is. But if he's healthy and they're going to have a role for him, which I really do think, what might be one of the reasons that we're not addressing edge the way people want, because Borgonzi believes in himself. As a GM, I got to believe in my moves. I believe in my second-round pick, whether you do or not. I know I got a great edge right there. You just got to see it. So maybe that's one of those things, the same way he saw DK. So that's why I'm believing in his vision, because we all question DK. And he turned out to be the Pro Bowler. I'm just saying, I think it's something, Femi, that we haven't seen, looking at Borgonzi's selection and how the team they're trying to build He fits into the mold, but I'm still willing to hold reservation until the end of the season to see how he develops in this new system before I give an evaluation on him. That's all. I just think it's fair. I think we should at least owe him that fairness. He's still a Titan. I mean, we got to root for the guy, no root against him. Let's root for him. Until they give us a reason not to. So yeah, we'll see. But
yeah, I'm not against Femi. Like I'm with a lot of the things you said.
Yeah.
I think he's not. I haven't written him off yet. The jury is still out, but he is not the same as Marcus Harris and some of those other people because we drafted him in the second round. So
I get it.
You need to see something like at some point, and so like like the injury excuse. I'll let you have it right now because it's a valid excuse for this moment. But but something else you said, and this is the main thing I wanted to respond to, is that everybody I think is going to get a free pass for 1 year because they know that the coaching that was here before was just horrible, and they understand that could have a massive effect on your output. And so so I think that a lot of these guys are getting like a 1 year free pass, but once they go through 1 year with Saleh and Dable, I think that I think you're going to see some cuts. I think you're going to see some guys that we thought might be here for a couple years, but this will be it for them. And maybe not even make it to the year. Maybe by week 8 they send them out of here. So I think a lot of free passes are being given right now, and Femi's one of them. Not just because of the injury either.
He was a rookie.
He was a rookie,
and he was transitioning to a new position too. It's not like that was his dominant position his whole career. It's too many factors here that we have to consider.
There's a lot of factors.
That's all.
So I think he's going to get a year to be reevaluated.
That's all I'm asking. Just give him 1 year. See what happens. Yeah. How you feel, man? You think what you jump in?
No, I was letting the bandit rant hour go for a minute, so I was letting that happen. But I'll say this really quick because I don't, I want to make sure I get my 2 cents about Reed. I think Reed's another camp body to compete, see what he can do. He's the shortest safety I think on the team right now, but he obviously carved enough of a role enough for Barkons. He liked what he saw enough to say, okay, we should at least give him another opportunity with his staff. So we'll see. But as far as the Femi thing goes, there's way too many ingredients in his pizza to say that he had a bad year or a good year. Either way, there's way too many things going on with him. For one, we had bad coaching staff, bad team. You had no other rushers. It was literally Jeff Simmons against the world every play. You had him go into a new position where he only played 1 season at UCLA. He's having the best game of his early career, and then he gets hurt. And so we don't know where he would have been at the end of the year. And damn well, everybody on the team deserves a pass right now. Because guess what? It's March, and we haven't even hit the field in OTAs yet. Everybody deserves a pass right now. See where they're at. The coach is going to want to see what's your work ethic. How well do you know the playbook now compared to what do you know in the playbook in OTAs? Let me see your work ethic. Are you showing up for everything? Let's see you in training camp. Right now, I mean, these are all job interviews essentially again for all these players. Outside of the established guys, outside of obviously Jeff and Cam and these free agents they brought in, a lot of these guys, it's their opportunity again to show their worth to the coaches. They're having to do it all over again. And so Femi's included in that, but so is some of the other rookies. Gunnar has to show he is worth the spot that we're anointing him to be the starter. But Dable could be saying it's Bellinger for all we know. But Gunnar has to show that worth. You have to see the same things from Kevin Winston. What is he going to do? He has to show his worth that he deserves that spot. They all do, regardless. Femi, he has the traits. We know he does, but he has to put it together. He's got to put his pass rushing moves together. He's got to put the mental side of it together. But I think all these D linemen, again, everybody on that D line is going to make everybody better. Point blank, period. With all those moves there. So when Femi is in, he can't disappear. He has to at least show up on film. You may not be the one to make the sack, but did you get the pressure to make the quarterback move up in the pocket? You may miss the sack initially, but did somebody clean it up for you? Or did you clean it up for them if they miss it? You have to show that because we all know he's just going to be he's getting more off the plate. I've heard Koharski talk about it. Take more off the plate, just give him less and less work, just one job. go get the damn quarterback. That's it. And so I think Femi won't have any excuses. You can't say that he has too much on his plate. Set the edge or go get the quarterback. That's your only two jobs every play. And so I think if he has enough traits, and plus White Cotton, the D line coach, all these players coming in that have been with him before love him. Solomon Thomas raved about him in the piece. Jim Wright just posted. JFM has talked about White Cotton. They say he maybe from what I read, it reminds me of the Kerry Coombs days of the MMC&B days with how they say he's vocal, he's loud, he talks trash, he is in your face. They said the media might think he's crazy, but they said they love the way he holds them accountable and pushes them. And I think that's the perfect coach to put with Femi, along with everybody else on the D line, because it's either you're going to rebound and, listen to the coaching and take it in stride, or you're going to wither away and we're going to send you off. I mean, there's only two ways. If you have a coach like that, how do you respond to your position coach? Because that's going to matter more than Saleh. That's going to matter more than anybody else, because your position coach is around you the most. They evaluate you more than anybody. So I'm excited to see what Femi does. I think he can really do something that, like you mentioned, I think he's a part of the edge problem solving that we may not be thinking about yet. Still think we'll probably get one eventually, but we've addressed that position enough. And Borgonzi, and I'm sure Saleh have already talked about, Femi still, deserves the opportunity, but that could be taken in a blink of an eye with everybody else that we have on the roster. So it'll be interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's hey, look, that's the defense, folks. That's all, folks. Nah, but that rounds up the defense right there. Before we get out of here, though, I do have a little something that me and I brought it to Ice's attention, and we're not. Let me show you something, Bo. Let me show you something. Was it you? No, you tagged me in something else. Somebody tagged me. That's how I found out about it. I didn't look for this. It was given to me. Let me see. Is it gonna pop up? I gotta do this thing.
What are you talking about, sir?
You shall see. Patience, my friend. Patience. Same thing I need you to have with Femi. Where is it? Come on.
I never know what you're gonna do, man.
You don't? I like it like that.
I feel like it's like the Mario question mark box. Like what he's about to pop out of that box. Well, it's coming.
That's him. That is him.
Come on, where you at? Come on, this thing acting crazy. It's giving me the hardest time. Jesus. I'm definitely gonna have to clip this out.
Presentation could have been worked on.
There we go. So, fellas, what do we see? Bo, what do you see? What is on the screen?
Oh.
Tony Pollard's Twitter page.
What do you notice about it?
Yeah, well,
anything you notice?
I don't see anything about Titans. I don't think so. No, I don't see nothing. I'm double and triple checking.
What's that team up the top? Who is that?
He saw his Dallas Cowboys up there. Has he touched his Twitter?
What
does it matter if he's touched his Twitter?
No, but that's why I'm wondering. Has he really not touched it since he's been on the Titans? It's been 2 years.
Exactly. What about that on that profile pic, man? Is that a Cowboys uniform? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. I don't know, man. I'm looking at it like this is interesting because he's been, like I say, even if he doesn't use it, you would think his PR agent would say, hey, just
at least update it.
Yeah, image Jermaine Johnson. As soon as he got traded, his Titan Twitter's on Titan the next day.
He photoshopped an ugly jersey, but he did do it.
He did it.
I even said
that's crazy. I don't know.
I even said, like you think like teammates in the locker room would see this, because a lot of these guys fool with Twitter, and they would get on here and say, "Hey, man, you got to change your stuff." Like you got that Cowboy stuff on there. You a Titan now. Like you think they would like he would have addressed this by now. Like even if you don't fool with it, like you got to change that.
Yeah. There it is, folks. I don't know, man. What's going on with Mr. TP? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't want to say too much. I'm trying to be a nice guy here.
Have you seen the photo of him before joining the Titans and after? He lost all his hair, essentially, receding hairline. There's a photo that's shown where before he was with the Titans was full head of hair, and since he's been on the Titans, his receding hairline's to the back of his head.
Hell, I've lost hair. I can't blame him for that. Brian Callahan caused everybody to lose hair.
Hey, for real, no, you're not. Look, we lost so much hair. The whole new coaching staff is bald. We said ain't even no point of bringing nobody with hair. They just gonna lose it anyway. Just
We got to make sure they don't see the stress. Just don't let them have any hair. Yeah,
hey, exactly. Just keep it cool, man. Y'all got any closing remarks? Anything y'all want to touch on before we get out of here?
Keep calm, tighten up, and Jeremiah Love at 4.
You heard it?
No.
Yeah.
Keep calm and not what he said.
Yeah, y'all ever watch Storage Wars?
Yeah.
I know that guy was ready to hit that joke with Dave. Like, yeah.
Well, I watched the burnt peanut, and he's when shit goes bad, well.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's fun, man.
I feel like that Jeremiah Love comment, like, well.
Hey, it's tough. We're gonna see, man. Honestly, I'm really just ready to get there. I mean, look, at this point, the speculation is getting crazy, but I'm just ready for it. I think
I'm tired of the mock drafts and being told Jordan Tyson.
I think I'm gonna try to put a live on. I'm gonna see where we streaming it from, and I'm gonna try to, because I got the NFL Plus thing. If they do it on NFL Network, I'll be able to go online and stream it on here. So I'm gonna see to make sure before I announce.
Depending on who we pick, I might cry, dude. I don't know if I could be on here.
It's all right, man. Hey, Kleenex and Puffs, man. What you need? Talk to us. What's your preference?
What's that?
Kleenex and Puffs. Yeah.
Well, I was on the Arvell Reese train, and I'm not saying I'm not still, but Paul Kuharsky today, it just came out of his mouth. I asked him, and this is what he said. He said that Borgonzi, and I didn't know this, he said that Borgonzi said recently that if they draft Arvell Reese, that he will play the defensive end position. Okay. So hold on. There's a lot to unpack right here. Okay, so Arvell Reese doesn't ever get in a 3-point stance. Robert Saleh's defense, you get in a 3-point stance. So you're telling me that you're expecting Arvell Reese to transition to this position in the NFL and set the edge against an offensive tackle. I just think that's crazy. I think that's silly talk. Like that's not who he is. He is projecting himself, and I'm not against him doing this because I don't blame the guy, but he is projecting himself to be a defensive end so that he can get paid more money on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
I mean, linebackers don't get paid as much. So I get why he's doing it, but to hear that the GM of our teams said that he would be a defensive end too, like, I don't know. I ain't seen this video. I'd like to see that. But the thing is, if that's true, and we're going to put Arvell Reese at defensive end if we draft him, then he's going to be ruined. And if he's going to be ruined, then I would just as well like to have Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
Give me my Fred Warner and let me go. But because one thing I do not want to draft is a running back for financial reasons, first and foremost. And then an edge rusher, I just feel like, if you draft, this is what I was telling Ghost Titan. I said, if you draft an edge rusher, because we have a need at linebacker and edge rusher. Well, depending on who you ask, Femi plays into this. But if you believe we have a need at edge and you believe we have a need at linebacker, okay, if we draft an edge, he's not going to be helping out in the coverage game. Okay, like he's going to be playing edge. And if you draft Arvell Reese, if you draft an outside linebacker who has the ability to rush the quarterback sometimes, not from a 3-point stance, I'm talking about like off the ball, like plugging the hole, and he blitzes. Like Arvell Reese has had plenty of experience doing that. Then what I'm saying is he can help alleviate the depth issue that you have at defensive end sometimes. Yeah. He'd be another guy coming at the quarterback sometimes. Okay. And so it's kind of like you're getting both. You kind of help both positions with one guy. Yeah. But if we're not going to use him that way, then just give me my Fred Warner, and then I don't have to worry about linebacker anymore, and we can go to the second round and get Chris Brazel.
Well, there's that, folks.
Well, we had the Bandit rant, and then we had the Ice rant. I'll have one next week.
I mean, I'm glad you let me get that out. I've been preaching that all day, man.
Yeah, that's what this is for. That's exactly what this is for y'all to come and talk your shit, get your rants off. It's a voice for y'all. I love it. That's truly what this platform is for. It is for the fan, and it's good to have consistent people. So y'all are part of the two-tone takeover nation, and it's good to see the pioneers building this from the ground up. But we're gonna be back with you all soon, and with that, I want to appreciate y'all for tapping in and rocking out with us. Thank you for watching and being a part of the journey. We are trying to build something real over here, a place where Titan fans can pull up, speak up, and feel at home. Help me get the word out so more of our two-tone family can do the same. Everyone's welcome. If you enjoyed this, do me a solid, like, share, subscribe, and follow. Catch me on Twitter, IG, TikTok, YouTube, Shorts, doesn't matter. We're going to keep expanding. We're going to go to Twitch, Kick, Rumble. We're going all over the place. We won't be stopped. We will be heard. But look, Two-Tone Bandit, the Two-Tone Bandit, you see it right up there in that corner over there above my main boat. But look, let me know how you feel down below. I'll be checking back soon. TTFU all day. Tighten up, baby. I'm the Two-Tone Bandit, and we are out of here.